What's going on, everybody? This is Black Men Sundays. I'm your host, Corey Sylvester Murray, and we're talking about generational wealth, mental health, finance, and business.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
And before we introduce today's guest, my brother Eric from Huntsville, aka Hunts Vegas, living in Nashville, aka Nash Vegas, Tennessee. Who do you have for our Black Men Sunday Spotlight, my brother? And welcome back.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Like I said, it's been a minute, but I'm glad to be back and get back in full swing of everything. So I miss you guys too. You know, it's been a minute.
Definitely, man. Yeah, and who do you have for our spotlight today?
Well, today I have somebody no other than this brother right here. Actually, it's this couple. And you know what? Did you know that there was a black couple that was responsible for inventing the first Ring doorbell that actually used the technology to do this? Let me tell you a little bit about them. Their name is actually Marie and Albert Brown. And what they did was they filed a patent in August 1st, 1966 against the title Home Security System. So what they did was their invention laid the foundation for later security systems that made features use such as video monitoring, remote control door locks, push button locks, alarm triggers, instant messaging, and security providers so they can call the police when something happens. Now, her invention is still used by small businesses, small offices, single family homes, and multiple unit dwellings. They was known as, again, inventors of the first home security system. And they were credited with this invention of the first closed circuit television as well. A little bit more about these couple. Their patent went into effect in 1966, of course, because it was stolen. But they are being credited for having the first patent of the technology that we use for the Ring doorbell. That's my spotlight for today. Now back to you.
Well, that's interesting, Eric, because I see a lot of people that invested in the Ring doorbell that are millionaires now. And I'm like, man, I wish I would have invested in that. And to hear
Right.
that the technology came from some black folks, I'm
Right.
impressed, man. I learned something today.
Yeah, it's nothing new, man. That's, this technology's been around for a long time, but it's been suppressed. So, it gets passed around and they, somebody figure out about this or that. They decide to go ahead and use it. So, hey, now it's popular right now.
Wow.
1966. That's, again, that's over 50 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, man. Like I said, you learn something every day, man. Welcome back to Black Men Sundays, Eric. We've been missing them spotlights, man.
Yeah, man. I had to get some more for you too. So, I'll
Definitely.
have some more for you.
Definitely. Well, welcome back, man. We missed you,
Appreciate
man.
it.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Definitely. All right. Let's go on and introduce today's guest. I have a treat for y'all today. I'm bringing y'all a relationship and confidence coach. We about to get mentally rejuvenated. I just went through Hurricane Milton. Life's been a little traumatic. I'm gonna be honest. I don't normally feel anxiety, but when you go to cover a hurricane category 5 hitting at a category 3, the whole state of Florida is in a tornado warning. It's hard leaving your family going to cover a storm because I realized in 25 years I don't even know what it's like to cover a hurricane from home because I'm always in the thick of it. So, this Black Men Sundays, we're speaking to the owner and founder of Justice by Amber Nicole and the beauty of her academy. That's HER Academy. We're going to get mentally rejuvenated. We're about to talk about this Black men trauma. It is Black Men Sunday. So, you know what? Without further ado, Amber Nicole, Coach Amber Nicole, welcome to Black Men Sunday, sister. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. That Hurricane Milton, it had me anxious too, by the way.
Yeah, it had me anxious too, especially leaving the family. And then every time you turn the TV on, it's something stressful. So I want to start right with that. When we talk about trauma in the Black community, especially Black men, a lot of brothers I speak with, oh, I don't have any trauma. That's just, I'm just going through the normal wears and tears of life, whether it's job stress, stress at home, paying bills, just living life as a Black man. But a lot of brothers deny that they have trauma or that we have trauma where because I feel like for us, we know how to suppress it. So let's talk about that.
So I think one of the reasons why Black men suppress trauma is because they don't feel like they will be heard, because we talk so much as women, and that's how we heal, is through talking. And you guys don't talk as much. You guys express through different ways. So your way of expressing trauma or expressing the things, a lot of times women feel like, oh, well, you don't have emotions, or you don't feel nothing, or you should be the strong one all the time. And so before that very reason, then men don't express their trauma because they feel like I got to be the strong one. And unfortunately, people have been told that trauma is a weakness, as if you caused it on your own. So to express it is like, oh, I shouldn't say nothing because I have to hold this in because I got to be strong. But what people don't realize is holding it in, you're actually exaggerating. You're making it worse in how you show up in your relationships, how you show up and how you speak, how you teach, just everything, holding on to the trauma and not healing it. You make it worse, not better.
Great information. And let me give you a scenario real quick. And you tell me if this is trauma or this is normal. So,
Right.
every now and then, every now and then I may have like a little issue or something, but I may think about it like I may be having fun, I may be at work, I may be doing something not thinking about that issue, but then I just notice in my brain randomly it's like, okay, you keep thinking about this, you haven't handled the situation, but I just notice it's something it's an ongoing thing. Is that anxiety? Is that just normal stress? Is that trauma? Where like it's been boiling for 2 weeks, but it's something that regardless of what I do, it stays on my mind.
I typically call those triggers. So there's something that's happening that's triggering you, that's making you say address, and it is something that's unaddressed. And you may be dealing with it in the environments and not really seeing how you need to address it. Somebody might be triggering you. It's something that you just keep thinking about. I wouldn't necessarily say it's trauma per se. It just depends on what that trigger is. It could just be somebody hurt you in a certain area. It could just be there's a certain thing that you want to get done and you're not doing it. Like, it just depends on what that is. But I call those triggers. You're being triggered in an area, and when you have those thoughts over and over again, then you need to address them, because if you don't address them, like I said, they're gonna keep coming up.
Definitely. And, we've just went through Hurricane Milton, a lot of stress with that. The forecasters are saying this is like a top five of all time storms. And, the whole Florida peninsula was just lit in tornado warnings. It was scary. So how do we get back to normalcy?
The way to get back to normalcy, and that is community. I'm so big on community. Like being able to ask your neighbor, do you need help with something? Is there something that you need? I don't have lights, but maybe you can come over here, if you trust them. I'm not just saying have everybody in your home now. You know what I'm saying? No, don't do that, But helping and coming back into community. Personally, because I'm a Christian, I believe that there are certain things that happens in the earth, and I'm not saying that God caused this or anything like that, but I believe there's certain things that we can take lessons from, that when we're not in community and we're not connected and we're not talking and we're not building each other up, when you're doing this alone, it causes more anxiety. But if I had a neighbor or a friend or somebody I can call to and depend on, so if my lights go out, I know I can go to my family member's house or my friend's house. If I don't have any food, I know I can turn to this person. That's community. When we get back in community again, anxiousness won't be as much.
Wow, that's great information. That's what I'm talking about. And you're also the owner and founder of Justice by Amber Nicole and the Beauty of Her Academy. Let's talk about what that is and how you were able to establish that from a financial perspective.
Yeah, so both of those were established out of pain and trauma that I had to endure. So I started the Beauty of Her out of let's just go here. So when I was younger, I had my first kid at 12 years old. I got pregnant at 11. I had my first daughter at 12 years old out of me being molested by a friend of the family. From that trauma, I didn't get therapy. I didn't get help. I just dealt with it. My mom didn't deal with it. It just happened, and then life just went on. From there, when I got 20 years old, I got into a domestic violence relationship that I was in for 11 years. God brought me out of that relationship, and from that relationship, and once God brought me out, I realized I should have got therapy. I should have got help. I should have got healing. Because had I done that, I wouldn't have made the decisions that I made from childhood trauma that I did not take care of. So that's how the Beauty of Her got established. And then on the back end, like you said, with the how do I monetize from it? Obviously, by coaching and helping men and women, because it happens to both. It does. When we hear more about it with women, but it happens with men too. And I hear a lot of men come to me and say, "Yeah, I was taken advantage of. Yeah, I went through this." But I don't talk about it because it isn't as popular. But I have men and women that I coach, going through those traumas and unlearning those things that they held on to and learning to forgive.
And that brings me to, and I'm sorry to hear that, and brings me to my next question is, as a black man or as a black woman or as a people in general, how do you know when it's time to get help versus, handling things yourself?
Let me say this. I am an advocate for coaching and therapy. Like I would not, because I was in that mess evaluation for so long, if I would have got help, I wouldn't have ended up in there. But I wanted to be stubborn and I know everything and I want to save everybody without saving myself, which is trauma. You know what I'm saying? And so we all need help. That's what we're here for. Like there is a certain area that you're here for, that you help people, these Black Men Sundays, that you're helping other people. There's things with my coaching that I'm helping other people. We're all here to help in some capacity. It's just learning where we need to help at. So there is always something. Anything, cooking. That's a help. I need somebody to help me cook because I don't know how sometimes. You know what I mean? So the littlest things we need help with. It's just learning how to ask for help. So I feel like we always need help in some certain area. You don't learn anything without somebody teaching you.
Yeah, I got you, but I'm saying, brothers might be like, man, I don't have no money for that. I could just take care of that myself. I could just, get me some Hennessy, get me a Black and Mild or whatever they do, and I'm good 10 minutes later. So at what point should we really like take it serious to get professional help? You know what I mean?
Yes. So I would say look at your relationships and look at your life. Like, does your life bear the fruit of what you want it to look like? Like, are you always turning to things to pacify you? You smoking weed, you drinking, you having sex with multiple women, cheating, all of those things to pacify your needs. Is that what you want your life to truly look like? And if not, then you probably need some help. Like, are you bearing the fruit of the things that you say you want? I want to be financially stable. I want a family. I want someone who really loves me. I want real commitment. Well, you got to be doing the things for yourself first before you can get the fruit of that. So if you were always turning to something else to pacify you, then I would say you probably need help.
But going back to your business though, how are you from a financial perspective able to establish?
Financially, how I established my business was I got a business coach. So I established myself by getting a business coach. It was a multimillionaire because that's where I wanted to be. I always say, talk to somebody that has the fruit of what you want. So I got a business coach that helped me establish my business. What did I actually want to do? Because before I was just talking and teaching, but I was like, where am I going with this? What am I doing with this? So I had to sit down and write a plan out of what I wanted to do with my business. Once I planned out, this is what I want, this is who I actually want to talk to, because you can do a bunch of different things, but where's the goal? So I had to decide, okay, I want to talk to men and women who dealt with this, my niche, relationship and confidence. Here's who I talked to. Here's what they dealt with. Like I had to have a goal, a plan, and I wrote it out. And from there, I also wrote out what I wanted to make for that business. Do I want to make a little bit of money? Do I make a lot of money? Like, what do you want to do with the business? Like, I was really specific about what my vision was.
And you make a great point. You mentioned your business plan. A lot of business owners that I speak with, newer business owners, they say, I have a business. Like, for example, okay, I'm selling lemonade. I don't really have a business plan. So if investors or people, want to give me money to promote them with my business, I don't really have a business plan. So how did you set your business plan up?
I set my business plan up with, like I said, with through the coaching, is sitting down, writing down what it is that I wanted. Like I said before, I want to, let's do the lemonade one. If you have a lemonade, something you want to do, well, how much do you want to sell that lemonade for? What's your goal numbers that you want to get? Who are you trying to sell it to? Everybody, the whole world? Or is there a certain area that you want it to be in? Like you have to be really, really specific. What I learned at the beginning when I was doing business is when I was just nilly-willy, just speaking and just I'm just out here just saying whatever. I was all over the place. Like I was unorganized, I didn't have no real basis for what I was doing. But once I got serious and I got with my business coach, and she was like, well, what do you want to do? Who do you want to talk to? What's the numbers you want to have? Keep track of your numbers, putting your stuff in different systems. So, like, I have different systems, spreadsheets, and things that I keep track of my numbers, keep track of how much I'm making, how much is going out. Like, it's really a business. It's not a hobby, like something I'm just doing.
And you spoke of a business coach. So if, we have a business, and we're looking for a coach, how did you figure out that this is the coach for you? Like, what did you look for in that business coach? And, like, what are some tips for our listeners where if they're looking for a business coach, like, how do you know if that coach is the one for you?
One thing I looked at was reviews. Reviews was really big on with me because anybody can look like they doing something on social media. Like you can go rent a house and say I got $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at reviews. I talked to different of people that run their own businesses. So who do you talk to? So I talked to some of those people, and then I didn't pick the first person. Like the first person, I actually picked the third person that I had a consultation with because how she was talking, how she was able to show me the things that she actually accomplished. Like I need to see numbers. I need to see who you talking to, who you doing business with. Are you investing? Like the things that I really wanted for myself, I need to know that you're serious about this and you're not just telling me stuff just because it sounds good.
Let's stay on the financial side of it. So, at what point did you really realize that, okay, this business is taking off and that it's something lucrative? Because I hear a lot of business owners, they say, 3 to 5 years, I'm spending money, I'm not making anything. It's a passion of mine. So they keep doing it. But then at some point, they just kind of let it go. So, how did you? I'm pretty sure you had a period in your business, like all business owners do, where it's not apples and peaches and cream. So, how did you go through that from a financial perspective, and what techniques did you use? Like, did you have 3 to 6 months income already set up? Like, how did you take your business to where it is today from the infancy?
First off, I worked a job full time until I got to the space where I was able to do business. So I had to work my full time job and then I had to set a time after work and on the weekends that I want to work the business. So I was busy. And it was the first 5 years of my business that I had to do that. So yeah, it took me 5 years to really hone in what do I want to do, saving enough money when I started really making the money. And then it was really contracts. Once I got to having like real solidified contracts with certain people, contracts with different organizations, that's when I was able to be like, okay, I can leave the job and I can finally start doing the business full time. But I had to work a full time job. Like I'm not never about to tell nobody just go off and do whatever you want. And what helped me during that, not just my job, because there were times where I was like, is this really going to work? Like the people don't seem like they listening, like they combating everything I gotta say. They hate each other sometimes because I'm all about community with men and women. And you already see how it is with men and women. Lord, black men and women specifically is my niche. You know what I mean? So trying to get them together and be like, no, all men don't cheat. No, all women ain't this. Like, you know what I mean? So trying to bring them to some sort of community because we need each other. I need you just like you need me, you know? So I had to really, it was really a passion of mine. It's something that I love doing. So even when I was getting no money from it, even when I was getting very little feedback and people coming at me and nobody wanted to really listen, I had to realize that my goal is not about me and my feelings. My goal is about you and serving. And if I couldn't serve you and I was focused on how much money I was getting, then I'm doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Wow, great information. Yeah, because I hear brothers all the time. Oh man, I'm gonna quit my job, start my business. I'm gonna be able to have picnics every day at noon. But then when they get into it, you talk to them 5 or 6 months later, they're like, "Oh man, this is crazy. I'm the janitor. I'm doing all the work because they don't have money to, hire people." But you made a great point that I want to build a little bit upon. You said contracts. How are you able to establish those contracts, especially in your infancy? Because I get it, you're established now. I assume the contracts are easier to get, but how were you able to establish the contacts in the beginning? Like, what type of branding or marketing techniques did you use?
I think for me, what made it easy was my consistency. Like I didn't give up. I kept going. If I had one view on my video or 1,000 views on my video, I kept reaching out to certain people. I didn't give up. If they told me no, well, when do you want me to call you back? You know what I'm saying? Like I was consistent because I knew that what I had was important. I knew people needed to hear it, and maybe because I wasn't established at that time, but I wanted to show them that I'm gonna be consistent. I'm gonna keep showing up. You're gonna see my YouTube videos. I have over what 300 and something YouTube videos. Probably within the last year is when people actually really started watching them. My early YouTube videos, you don't see no views, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't care. Like I kept doing it. So it was really, and then professionalism. Like when I got my business coach, she said you need to look like what you want to be. You may not have the money, but there's a way that you can still look like you're doing it. Not to be fake, because I'm authentic in how I do it, but you don't want to be lazy in how you show up with your branding either. So do the best that you can, which is I was grateful for that, because even when I didn't have nothing, I still looked like I had a lot. I wasn't saying I had a lot though. I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't lying. I was very honest. But however, I was still showing up with authentic and teaching the message in spite of me not having much, me doing all the things, the financial aspect, doing the coaching programs, sending out all the emails, keeping track of all of my systems, like all of the things. It was difficult, but when you're consistent and when you're really passionate, and like I said, when I was doing it not for myself, it made it easier. It wasn't easy, it was easier.
Great information. And I hear this all the time. I want to quit my job and get my business going. So at what point is it safe? No, I'm just saying I get this at least 5 times a week. So I ask all our guests this question. At what point is it comfortable with your business where you can quit your main job?
I was not able to get to that space until I did have something saved, at least 3 to 6 months. Like you said, it's true. You got to have a back end, and you also have to be making money consistently. Like if you're doing something and it's just sometimes I make money and sometimes I don't, it's very inconsistent. I would say that that's probably not the time you need to be quitting your job, because you need to be bringing in customers consistency. You need to have where I call passive income, where you're not always the one that's out there making the money and doing the thing. There's something that you have passively coming in that's easy. So for me, I have a lot of passive. I get, income from YouTube, or I make money from things that I don't actually have to show up for. Merch and stuff that I have on my website. Like there's passive things that brings in money. So I don't always have to be the one, because I only got so much time for me. So you have to have a consistent amount of income coming in, just like your job. Your job consistently pays you weekly, or you know what I mean, bi-weekly. If your business isn't paying you consistently, I would not say to quit your job, because then you're gonna be broke and you're gonna want to give the business up.
Okay, okay. And what about, because I hear brothers that say, okay, I have the 3 to 6 months, but I'm a little nervous about quitting my job because, my insurance, my medical benefits. So let's talk about that a little bit and how that can be a strain when you're running your own business. Because a lot of people, when you had that 9 to 5, it's coming out your check. You're not really paying it no mind. But when you have your own business, it's a little different. Let's talk about the seriousness of that.
That is something that you need to think about. If you really believe in yourself, like you really believe this is something I can do, and there's no other option outside of this, like I know I'm gonna work hard at this. Obviously, take the risk. Life, you don't get nowhere in life without risk taking. It's just not gonna happen. Like you got to take risks. Investing in yourself is a risk. Investing in stocks and stuff is a risk. But you have to be able to take that risk. And yes, it is difficult when you don't have medical and you got to pay out your pocket for those medical bills and those dental bills. They ain't fun. You know what I'm saying? So yes, that is it is nerve-wracking thinking about those things. But when you believe, like the power of belief is crazy. Like I knew for me, like I believe in myself. When I work with my clients, like I tell them, you don't gotta believe in you. I believe in you, and let me help you walk along the way so I can show you how much I believe in you. And then along the way, they begin to believe in yourself. Like you gotta believe that you can do it. And when you believe, something in you like clicks, where it's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And like I said, as a Christian, God gonna work with you. We both doing this thing together. There's a supernatural thing that we have that's happening. But I will, not negate the fact that it was difficult for me when I was like, I'm not gonna have no medical, I ain't gonna have no dental. If I gotta go to the dentist, I'm gonna have to pay $1,000 for just this. You know what I mean? So those thoughts is real. But you have to not let those things that are negative keep you from where you want to be in life. Because if you do, you'll never get anywhere.
You mentioned monetization. Like, our show's about creating generational wealth. We try to look for different wealth building techniques, whether it's stocks, whether it's, home ownership, whether it's crypto and all the other flavors. But you mentioned monetizing off YouTube. So my question for you is, because I'm like, hell, I want to monetize off YouTube too. What qualifications do you have before you even start getting a check? And then on the back end, I want to talk about how many streams of income you have.
So with YouTube, it was so difficult because they need like 3 million views on a short. Like you need a lot of views, which is why consistency is important. You need a lot. You need like a, a lot of different, I can't remember the amount of subscribers, but I would, the shorts just alone with 3 million views is a lot. But that's why you have to really have, that's why your messaging has to be so specific, and it has to be, you really have to be teaching because people are hungry to be taught, right? So you got to be, whatever you're teaching got to be something that people actually want to hear in a multitude. If 5 people want to hear it, it ain't enough. You got to say something that people actually want to hear, that you're really teaching them how to grow. So I had to be consistent. I had 2 different podcasts on YouTube. So, and then I just have random videos that I just do here and there, but I got my 2 podcasts that I do as well. One that I do by myself that is on Spotify and Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, I mean, and iHeartRadio. And then I have another one that I do with my friends. So I have a podcast that's on there, and then just being consistent with my messaging. That's how I got from YouTube. How many streams of income do I have? I have my merch, my coaching, my contracts. I have four streams of income, and 2 of them are passive. So my YouTube is passive, and then like the merchandise and stuff that I sell, my books and digital programs and stuff that I sell. I have digital courses. So I do the course one time, teach it live, put it up on my Thinkific website, which is my Beauty of Her Academy website. And then it just keeps on flowing all across United. I got people in United Kingdom, in Africa, Nigeria. I have a lot of people all over the world that just clicks on it and can just watch it at their pace whenever they want to watch it. And it just keeps on generating income.
Yeah, I need to get on your level. We're gonna have to talk a little bit more. Plus, you local
Okay.
too. We're gonna have to connect. All right, fellas, the stage is open. We're talking to Coach Amber Nicole.
All right, this is Kalali Dobe out of Calvert County, Maryland. I'm gonna take it back to like relationships. Like you say your niche is like relationships between especially in the Black community between Black men and women. Do you think it's right now in this day and age is easier for Black men and women to have like successful relationships, or do you think it's much harder?
Oh, it's definitely much harder now. I have not seen relationships in the state they are now. Here, let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because I think we are at a position right now where so many people are not taking accountability on both ends. And
Okay.
so it's more about what can you do for me versus what can I do for you in relationships. So when I coach men and women on both ends, it's, oh well, she did this and she did that and he did this and he did that. And I'm just like, okay, I'm not saying that they didn't do anything wrong and that, you need to be, there needs to be consequences, but there has to be a level where you're able to show up and say, what can I bring to the relationship? Not just what are you doing for me?
That being the case, are you seeing like so are those obstacles, do those also have impacts on like, because obviously we talking about generational wealth. Are those having impacts on like how couples can like move forward together, like even economically?
It does. And let me tell you why. Because obviously, 2 are better than 1. So when I'm doing things singly, but in a relationship, there are many more benefits that I'll get out of marriage or out of us being together or out of building together or bringing our investments together than I get out of just doing it by myself. So it is messing up us economically because we're trying to do it all on our own. Men doing it over here, women doing it over there, instead of us coming and doing it together.
Do you think the like gender role expectations is having an effect on that as well?
I agree. I do. Because I believe that there is this expectation of what men should do, and there's this expectation of what women should do. But I also believe that no one's really talking about what that expectation is. I believe there's a lot of unspoken expectations about what I expect my woman to do and what I expect my man to do. A lot of it also is very shallow. Like I don't think there's really much depth into the things that they are asking for when it comes to the roles that they want. Money. Why when it comes to how much, who's paying this, who's paying that, like some of the things that they are dealing with and the discussions that we're having is very little depth to them.
Yeah, I agree with that too as well. And I mean, I guess I just wanted to vibe with you for a minute because like like I've been seeing like so as a part-time thing, like just as a hobby, I also rap, you know what I'm saying? And I wrote a song that at some one of these days I'll record it. You know what I'm saying? It's talking about like what I'm seeing in relationships these days. And like one of the things that I'm seeing in relationships is like or what I'll say as an observation is that it seems like men and women, and I'll even go so far as to say men more so have there's a need in our society for us to like re-examine like what we want out of a relationship, or what our role should be out of a relationship, or what a relationship looks like in 2024. It's like, I mean, I'm married. I've been married for 8 years, but it's like I see, a lot of men younger than me, they talking about their role in their relationship. And I'm like, well, you got to kind of reimagine what your role is going to be. Like, especially like, what does it look like to have a woman as an equal partner, not as like a subordinate partner, but as an actual like equal partner to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the things that you're going to have to do to help facilitate that relationship, and then vice versa as well. So, I mean, if you could just comment on that, it really ain't a question, but like I said, I just wanted to vibe with you. If you could just comment on that for a minute.
I agree with you. I think a lot of men go into relationships for cause she beautiful, cause she look good, or cause she seemed like she got good character at the beginning, but they really don't go into the relationship based on what they know they want for themselves. Like, what do I need? Do I need someone that if I'm running a business, I need someone to help me in my business? You know what I mean? If financially, I'm not saying you need to help financially. I'm just saying if there's certain things I need financially, and I see she killing it financially, I'm not saying I need her to take care of me, but let me go to her so she could teach me something in that area. Like, I really think it depends on where you are in your life, that you really need to examine what do you need for your life, and not just for right now, like for the future. Like, what do you expect? Just like how everything, like I said, I feel like everything is so shallow. Like, she got to be cute, he got to be cute, he got to have this much money, he got like all this shallow stuff, he got to be 6 foot tall, all the shallow, like it's ridiculous. It's like, no, what type of character does he have? Can she pray over me? Can we sit and down and read books together? Like, it's really more so me about service and character. Like, but because we become such a shallow people, which it bothers me, which is why I'm so passionate about this, right? Because we so focused on the outside and how things look, that we're not even taking care of the traumas, like Corey was talking about earlier. Like, you need to take care of your traumas. What is those things that you dealt with as a child? Who your parents neglecting you? All those things are showing up in your relationships, and now we are expecting this other person to fill us up, or to fill those voids, or to be meet those needs in a certain type of way, when that's not their job. Your job is to heal yourself. I'm not your healer, I'm not your savior. Like, you need to heal yourself, because when we come to a relationship, we're not supposed to come as 50-50. We're supposed to come as 100 and 100. I'm whole, I'm ready. What we need to do, how can I serve you? If I have a deficit, I'm looking for you to fill it, and the only person that can fill that is you and God. That's not my job.
That's right. That's what's up. And I appreciate I appreciate, we don't, obviously we financial podcasts, we get people from all different stripes. I appreciate that you're Christian. Right now I'm reading Michelle Singletary's book. I don't know if you've read it, 21 Days to Financial Freedom. I think that's what it's called. But it's just about like I'm right now, it's like studying a financial fast. And the reason I bring that up is because there's a chapter in the book about like being married and also managing your finances properly, right? And
Yeah.
so, the work that it seems that you're doing helps couples, and also, once you get to that step of being married, really have like transparent conversations. Because again, if you can't have those transparent conversations, and you haven't dealt with your traumas, and you haven't dealt with those sensitive spots, you can't really even manage your money properly inside your relationship. So then how do you take that to the next level in terms of attaining, financial freedom as a married couple? And so that's the way I'm linking it, at least through this podcast anyway. But yeah, I definitely appreciate the work that you're doing. And also, if you have any additional comments on that, I would love to hear them, but definitely appreciate the work you're doing. And wanted to kind of make that link, is that all of this work does also support us being financially free, and having generational wealth as well.
Yeah, listen, but when we come together here, I just heard this recently. I was looking at this survey, and the survey said that Black people are at the bottom of the totem pole financially,
Mhm.
as far as what we make. However, we are at the top of how much we spend. That don't even make sense to me. How we spending more than we making? You know what I'm saying? So there's a disconnect there that we're not doing. That if we come together as a community, like for real, like everything that is in a lot of the stuff is bit off us. What we created, how we show up, how we dress, what our character is, our mannerisms, how we do, like for real, a lot of people are basing their lives off of how Black people do it. But instead of us monetizing off of those things, we so focused on looking good and being in the house that we can't afford, instead of really investing and coming together, finding that partner that can really be your equal. Where what can we do to build financially? How can we build generational wealth. This ain't just about me. This is about my children, my grandchildren. I have grandchildren, by the way. This is about my grandchildren. This is about us coming together and building financially so that when my kids grow up, they don't got to worry about poverty. They ain't fighting about relationships and all this shallow things. They got money that they can give. They got investments that they have. We got houses that we passing down to them. Like the things that we talk about in our community it's annoying, but it's annoying because we way too smart for where we are right now. Way
Yeah.
too smart as a community, as a people for than where we should be much farther along.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I appreciate you too as well. I appreciate the work you're doing to push it along. So so
Thank you.
that's awesome. Thank you so much.
I love that conversation you and Kalali had. That was a vibe right there. I was really feeling it, really locked into it. And one thing that I took away from that is you said come together as a community. How do we come together as a community?
Honestly, it really starts with self. It starts with myself. It starts with stop pointing the finger at what this girl need to do, what this guy need to do, how he can be better, it starts with me taking accountability for there's some things that's showing up within me that's causing me to look at everybody else instead of focusing on myself. There's an accountability that I'm not taking. There's people that I hurt that I refuse to forgive. There's people that hurt me that I refuse to forgive. There's old traumas that I'm holding on to. There's old relationships that I just think time passed by. Let me just say this: time does not heal all wounds. Time just passes. It just goes. I had wounds, like I said, when I was 20 years old that happened to me when I was 10 because I did not do what I needed to do to address those. So it's addressing those things that you are not addressing because you think it happened at 8 years old, so it don't bother me no more. But it did. That woman messed me over and betrayed me, and now I can't treat no woman right. It's affecting you, brother. So what you need to do, instead of you keep on looking at smoking weed and having sex and you really need to focus on what do I need to do for me. It's accountability first and foremost. I need to take care of me. I need to heal me. I need to make sure I'm good financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically. I need to make sure I'm good. That way, the person that I'm giving out to the world is the best version of who I am and not just these pieces of me that I'm only willing to give, but the vulnerable parts of me that I'm holding inside, that's really who I am. I can't show up and be that person because that person is still hurting. So community starts with accountability.
And on this show, we talk about generational wealth. We also talk about generational poverty. And now we're talking about generational trauma. So, do you believe that there is a such thing as generational trauma that's being passed down?
I do. I do. And I'm going to give you an example from my personal life. So my grandmother and my mother did not have a great relationship. They had this, it was a weird relationship. They didn't have a good relationship. Well, probably about then me and my mom didn't have a great relationship. You know, then me and my daughter didn't have a great relationship. We've gotten it together because I realized that that was generational trauma that could have been with my great grandmother. I just don't know, but I know it at least started with my grandmother, that they had a disconnect, and then my mom and me had a disconnect, and then I was like, okay, I see a pattern here. There's something that's happening in my family. There's some generational breakdown in the women in our bloodline, and somebody got to break it. And so I did the work. I did the healing work. So now me and my daughter's relationship is A1, like we're good. But it took me to finally realize that, oh, that's a trauma here. Instead, I could have easily just been like, you know what? I couldn't stand my mom. My daughter can't stand me. It is what it is, and just deal with it. But I looked and it was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not letting my family be so disconnected. Like, and especially when I'm so big on family, like I could not let that keep on riding and keep on. Somebody got to break the curse. So you know how they say, like it was a generational curse until it got to me. Somebody got to break it, and I chose to be the one to break the generational curse when it came to the women in my bloodline to be connected and love each other. So I do believe it can be passed down.
And speaking about generational trauma, what tips can you give for families that recognize that this generational trauma is coming down from great grandma to grandpa to mom, dad to me? How do we overcome that? Is that something where we need professional help?
Yeah, I do believe you need professional help, but I believe the basis of everything is forgiveness. Forgiving, letting go, realizing that they were broken too, realizing that this is something that wasn't about me, but it did happen to me. So because when you hold on to unforgiveness, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. you showing up as this broken version and thinking you so angry and you so mad about at the other person. They just living life happily and don't care. But you over here mad at them and all this other stuff. So it starts with really forgiving first. And yes, you do need help because a lot of forgiveness ain't easy. Because people believe that forgiving someone means that I'm saying that it was right. The man that molested me when I was 10 years old, I had to forgive him. Does that mean that he was right for what he did to me, taking advantage of me as a grown man? No, he was not right. He was wrong, and he under the jail right now. However, I still let it go. I forgive him. I bless him. I wish him whatever it is. God got him. It ain't got nothing to do with me no more. I don't wish no anger, no hatred, no bitterness towards him. Don't even think about him. Only time, yeah, is me and my daughter. That's what came out of that. And me and my daughter have a good relationship now, but it really starts with me. I had to get professional help to learn how to let it go because I didn't know how. And no one in my family was getting therapy, and everybody in my family was just holding on to it and just letting time pass, but no one's getting real help, real assistance, real forgiveness was not happening. It was just, oh, the time's going, it ain't happening no more. And that's not how it goes. Like, you got to free your soul from that. You holding on to it is holding on to it. And also, when you hold on to unforgiveness, what people don't realize, it has physical effects to your actual body. Like, your body feels that when your body start breaking down and your kidneys and everything because you holding on all these people inside of you because you won't forgive them, you need to let that go. And it starts with getting professional help because it is hard to do by yourself.
Are you enjoying yourself on Black Men Sundays?
I like this. This is fun. I like this. Yeah, it's get some good conversation.
Definitely. And I want to talk about gender roles for a second. My brother Kalali mentioned it because, these days I see a lot of Black women, women in general are really elevating financially to the point where, like, I'll see single guys, I'll be like, oh man, she's hot. I'm feeling her. The conversation's great, but I make like 50% less than what she does. So I'm afraid to approach her to hook up with her because then if we link up, I don't know what my gender roles are going to be, and I don't want to be the stay-at-home husband. So, how do we talk to Black men or men in general when the woman that you want makes significantly more than you?
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on the woman, what type of character does she have? And that starts with asking her out because you don't really know who she is until you ask her, go on a date and have some real conversations, not know what's your favorite color and what you like to eat. But, what are you looking for in a man? What do you expect in a man? Asking those real questions because then whatever her expectation is or whatever she's looking for, whether you meet that or not. And once you start saying some stuff that you meet, then you start saying, okay, well, this is how I show up. This is who I am. Money should never ever be a reason why you should not be in a relationship, whether the woman making more money or the man, because at the end of the day, money come and goes. She may have it now, but she may not have it 5 years from now, and you gonna have the money and you're gonna be the one doing everything. So it really just depends on who she is as a person and who her character is and what she expects and wants out of a relationship. Then you decide if you meet that. So go for it.
Yeah, because to me, it's not a big deal. Women make more than me. All right, cool, that's cool, we good. But a lot of brothers I see get a little uncomfortable around successful women. I'm like, how you uncomfortable, bro? She's balling. But I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. Successful women, extra beautiful women, like even I mean, listen, I know I'm pretty, right? But I'm just saying there's certain people that feels like, oh, I can't talk to her or I can't approach her because she's pretty. I'm with Chris, by the way, but I'm just saying there's certain people that say I can't talk to her or I can't approach her because she's pretty. But you don't even know me. Like, I'm a super nice, friendly person. Like, what does pretty have to do with anything? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even know nothing about me. You get around me, we're gonna have a good time, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna joke, we're gonna dance, like, you know what I'm saying? But you just looking at me on the outside and you done made a whole visual and came up in your whole mind of what you think I am. You know what I'm saying? So that's the same thing with someone with money. Like, she may have money, but you don't know her. She can be like, I got money because I got to take care of my family. But what I'm really looking for is a man that can come in and we can build this together. What I'm really looking for is a man that can come in and we can do certain things that can provide certain things for me, a safety, a comfort, somebody I can talk to, someone I can lean on. Money is just there, but you give me what I need. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's things you need. You need money too, but there's certain things that men need that man can do, and it ain't always just money.
But hold on, you said something. You said Chris from F Tech. You with Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, so fellas, don't even try to holler. He's the guy with the guns, the F Tech. He's second show January. If y'all missed it, gun safety, all that. Black Men Sundays. This is amazing.
Yeah, we've been
Wow.
together for 5.5 years.
Oh man, he's an overachiever. I'm gonna have to holler at him.
You know,
Definitely, definitely. And this is an election year. So we have Kamala and Trump running for president in under a month. Who are you voting for this year and why?
let me just say this. I'm struggling with this one right here. And let me tell you why. First off, I don't like Trump, and I'm not a Trump supporter. Let me just say that. I am not a Trump supporter. Don't like the man at all. Wish he wasn't even running. However, I am a very strong Christian woman. I'm struggling in the fact that a lot of her campaign has to do with abortion because as a Christian woman, you know that killing babies is a sin, right? So I'm really struggling in who I'm going to vote for. I'm just like, do I even want to vote? Like, I'm just voting for Jesus. It's hard for me because I like her as a person. I like her character. I do feel like she'll be great in the office. But that one thing and that being the biggest thing, and it's hard for me right now to answer that question. Because no, I don't want, honestly, at this point, I don't want either one of them in the office, but I don't have a choice with that. You know what I'm saying? One of them have to win. So I don't know. I wish her campaign was based on something bigger than abortion. And she does a lot of women's rights and abortions. At 12 years old, I had the option to get an abortion. And my beliefs were strong at 12. No, I'm not. If I got to raise this child at 12, I'm going to do what I got to do. But I don't believe in it. So therefore, because I don't believe in it, and I was molested, so I come from that perspective as well, because you know how they say, oh, well, if they're raped and molested, they should have the right to, you have the right to give your child up for adoption to somebody a family who can't have kids. So I struggle with that one right now. And I'm sorry I can't answer it because I really don't know what my answer is. I don't know. But I will say my answer is I don't like Trump. I will say that. I'm not a Trump supporter. And I'm moving. Funny thing is I'm moving next week. And I did not want to move around the people because all of them had these Trump 2024, flags out there. And I'm just like, oh my God, am I going into the enemy's camp? Because why do I want to be here, right? But I was like, you know what? Maybe God's putting me here to be the light. Maybe they have this perspective of who Black people are, but when I get around them, they're going to see that they're not who they think they are, they think we are. I mean, so that's my answer to that question.
That was heavy. Okay, okay. So I kind of know who you're voting for. You kind of said it without saying it. So gotcha. Coach Amber Nicole, thanks for coming on Black Men Sunday, sharing some tips, sharing knowledge. I mean, this was a great show, and I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And by the way, folks, don't forget, we have our turkey drive. It's in full effect right now. We're in October. We're doing 3 Boys and Girls Clubs. We're trying to do 500 turkeys. You see the link on the bottom of the show. It'll be up through the whole show. So just scan that code, make that donation. And we inflation. So we need some money. That kind of rhyme, donation, inflation. I'm gonna have to work that a little bit more. That was kind of dope. A
Okay.
little freestyle. Yeah. So Amber Nicole, thanks for coming on Black Men Sundays. We appreciate you. Appreciate your time and all the tips. And like I said, fellas, she is fine, but my man Chris, he'll light you up. Don't play with her. Thank you, Amber Nicole.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away.